Chris.
Well, listen, Mark, listen, hold on. When I say, would you have caffeine today?
What the hell is that up to you out of this thing?
How much coffee did you drink before the show?
Listen, you can't polish a sneaker, right? throw tomatoes at me, do whatever you're going to do.
Welcome into Corso and Catone, the real deal, New England feel. I'm Barry White, and sitting right over there is Mark Catone. I say that, Mark, because
There's something wrong with you.
There is something wrong with me today. I may be coughing up a lung throughout the middle of the show, so bear with me. And this show is
should I start singing "Never Gonna Give You Up"?
That's right, you should. And but we are presented by the Pats Nation, the only Patriots postgame show worth watching. Join Mark and I for all your Patriots postgame coverage 30 minutes following the Patriots game. And listen, Mark, there's just a lot of ways for people to reach us. So if you want to watch us live and see all Mark's faces and antics and everything, then get on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. Give us that thumbs up. But if you can't watch and you want to listen, hey, there's many ways to do that as well. Catch us on iTunes or the iHeartRadio app. Just type in Corso and Catone and we will pop up. And if you want to see us live, Mark, you can get on Podbean. So, and check us out.
We're diversified now, Chris.
We have it all. And it's including Twitter. So check us out at Corso_Catone, at Corso_Catone. And of course, our heated hotline, 855-313-PATS. Leave a message 24/7. Joe's going to pick the one. Hey, Joe, listen, it has to be a full-time job sifting through those. How do you not, A, laugh your tail off, and B, how do you pick them, Joe?
That's it. That is the key element right there. If it makes me laugh, I enjoy it, and or it's going to get you guys riled up and create a good conversation, that's definitely one of those topical points. I'll choose that way.
Right, and so this is why Mark and I are not ever allowed to hear it first. But listen, Joe picks the one, and that one could be yours. So 855-313-7287. Mark, packed show as always. Listen, we have a new segment today, Mark. Called it's going to be called B's and C's. We'll be talking Bruins and Celtics.
Well, no more Red Sox.
No more Red Sox, unfortunately for them and Red Sox Nation. But hey, we could talk Bruins and Celtics now, right? So
yeah, that's right.
And you always, you never want to miss, and you always want to stick. It's worth it. Catone's comments. Make sure you stick around for that. And our Patriots preview of the Chargers game as they travel to L.A. for it's 4:05, right?
4:05 game.
4:05 kickoff. So why the 05, Mark?
I don't know what that's about. It's got to be something, Chris, with when the 1 o'clock games end. I'm guessing, and what they're bounced up against.
Yeah.
And
see,
so
you get
to do with the freeway. The 405 is the freeway off of where they land into the actual stadium.
Yeah, you know what, Mark? What's real quick before we get the heated hotline? See, you get to see the Patriots games pop right on. It doesn't matter if there's another game in overtime. Mark, how many times have I called you?
Oh, you're going crazy because you can't get that feed until the first game ends.
And I have the Sunday ticket, but for some reason, when it's the national game and it's on local, they'll finish the other one first. They'll go to an overtime game, and I'm sitting there listening to it on the radio like I did in the olden days, right, Mark? So, all right, you ready for
you know what stinks, Chris? Now because of the situation we're in, we usually get like the C and D announcing group.
Yeah, but you know what? At least we're not the national, and I don't have to deal with that anymore.
No,
so
I know.
The longer they suck, the more I won't have to live with that. But you ready for heated hotline?
I'm ready.
All right. Oh, Joe
jumped the gun.
I did.
Jumped it, Joe.
I did.
Well, Joe, you listen. I put it to you whenever you're ready, pal.
Well, let's start the
hotline. Hi guys, my name is Jennifer from Providence. I am just calling in to give my opinion about a couple of things, but I want to say you guys have a great show. I listen every week. And I'm a big fan, but I wanted to call today because I wanted to talk about what big babies these basketball players are and all the professional athletes. Like bitch about everything and everybody, and we just tiptoe around them because they can, put a ball through a hoop or in the net or in the end zone. Just do your job, pass your checks, and shut your mouth. It's enough at this point. Anyway, I just started out my rant, but I wanted to let you guys know my opinion on that and kind of see what your thoughts are. All right, thank you guys.
Oh wow,
I love it,
Jennifer. Jennifer, you know what, Joe? Get her on the show.
Oh,
seriously,
that was great.
Get her on the show, Joe. I mean,
right? Seriously, don't be sorry about the rant either. We love the rants.
That was great.
Yes, talk about on point. That may be the best one. That may top the one in Connecticut. There, Bobby in Connecticut.
But Bobby has a couple of too many bourbons, I think, when he calls in. Bobby.
Jennifer's definitely riled up. And listen, Jennifer, we appreciate that message that you left. Yeah, Mark, what do you think?
I think she's 100% correct, Chris. 1,000% correct. I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, come on. This Kyrie Irving situation in Brooklyn, he don't want to get vaccinated, right? And he's making all these, making it a big issue, which is right. And all this. Listen. If your employer says you got to do A to have a job, you do A, or you don't have a job. This guy's sitting home. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chris. I believe he's still collecting paychecks. I don't think that. Are they not paying him?
I don't think they're paying him.
Okay. Ben Simmons is he's an absolute moron. First of all, he stinks. He's overrated. So overrated, it's ridiculous. They drafted him with the #1 pick in the draft. Chris, I can't even walk up a basketball court and I can goddamn shoot better than him. I can shoot better than him at my age. That's how bad of a shooter Ben Simmons is. He stinks. Absolutely stinks.
Mark, I've seen you shoot. It's not bad, actually.
Oh, that's true. I don't want to.
I will say that.
I don't want to toot my own horn. But
yeah. What was that movie that Joe Pesci? He was. It was at the Super. He was out there playing basketball. There you go.
Yeah,
that's Mark.
Yeah.
You know.
But Chris, I don't know. I think she's 100% right. These athletes, Chris, are overpaid babies who, if they don't get their own way, they're going to sulk. They're going to sit out. Oh, we're going to make a statement. What statement are you making? What?
Mark, I don't have as big of a problem with Kyrie's situation now. I mean, forget the politics of it, but I don't have as big of a problem because if you're making that choice, again, it's your choice. You don't want to be vaccinated. You don't be vaccinated. Don't be. But
no, my problem with him, Chris, is I think he just likes to be in the spotlight.
Well, I mean that, but
I'm not talking about whether he should be vaccinated or not. That's a personal decision. Yes, 100%. But he just wants to be in the goddamn spotlight and he's always got to do the opposite of what everybody does. Yeah. That's just my opinion, Chris. That's just a pattern with him.
But he's suffering for it, Mark. So he's not getting paid. So in other words, it'd be one thing if he's trying to do that but still getting paid for it, but he's not getting paid. So hey, you know what? That's on him. You don't want to get paid. But the other things that he's always been doing and checking out halfway through the season, and I agree with the caller. I mean, and
what about Simmons, Chris?
Mark Simmons is just he's not good. He's not a good enough basketball player to be doing any of this stuff. No. Like you say.
How about he's practicing with a cell phone in his pocket, Chris?
Yeah. You know what? Is that when Doc kicked him out?
Doc Rivers lost it, yeah.
Yeah. Listen, if you can't make it work with a coach like Doc, then you can't make it work. I mean, right?
Yeah. He was looking to get himself thrown. He was looking for this reaction. That's what what did he think Doc Rivers was going to do? You got a cell phone in your pocket for practice? Really?
It's bad. It's the landscape of sports, and you and I have been talking about this for months and months. The landscape of sports has changed. It's different. The players are controlling much more than they ever have, for better or worse, whatever you think of that. The bottom line is what it is. And I would say in all the sports, but you don't see that more than you see it in basketball right now. Yeah. And so, and that's the same with it brings us close to home too, doesn't it, Mark?
Tatum.
With what's going on here, I think, right?
Yeah, Tatum and Jaylen Brown and when we get into the Celtics Bruins segment, Chris, we're going to talk about what the coach said about Jaylen Brown this week.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like a good enough, as good of any time as to get that done. So the Heated Hotline was presented by Jag Media Productions. And so here we are into our new segment now, B's and C's. And for those of you who don't understand that, sometimes the Bruins are referred to as what, Mark?
The B's.
And the Celtics?
C's.
There you go. So that's
the test.
That's right. The real deal New England feel brings that real quality. So B's and C's are going to be Bruins, Celtics, and Mark. Let's start off with
it.
Oh, Joe,
Hey,
I like that, Joe.
I like that too. You know what? I didn't think it was ready. I thought
Bro, we get these things ready.
again, I don't know, Joe, Mark, why do we have these production meetings? I mean,
I know he's
he
he's
doesn't
a
tell
very
us
calm,
anything.
right?
He just puts
Yeah, he
clapping
just
in
wants
the
to yell at us.
background, and that's
I
it.
do.
He yells at us. Oh, he
do.
yelled at
Getting
us
the
good in the
stuff.
last one.
He just wants to yell at us, Chris.
He yelled at us pretty good in the last one.
Yeah.
Make sure, hey, listen, email in corso.catone@gmail.com. Go ahead. Let Joe have it because he's always yelling at us,
Yeah.
So it's bad
I
enough
feel like
Mark yells
someone's
at
gonna
me.
keep you guys on your toes.
Yeah.
We're
So
professionals.
B's and C's, Bruins and Celtics. Let Mark, since Jennifer in Providence
What a
open this-
basketball.
yeah, she opened this can. Let's talk about it, Mark. Let's talk to us about the Celtics right now. I know it's early, but
Chris, so if you've watched, right, and I think the coach brought it up this week, Chris, the effort, and this was an issue last year, and everybody blames Stevens for it. Well, now you got a new coach. Like he basically said Jaylen Brown was he was, I forget the exact word he used. I don't know if he said it was mind-boggling. Well, I think that's what he said. It was mind-boggling. And he was talking about, I think, the effort of Jaylen Brown one game to the next, where one game he looks like he's a superstar, in the next game you don't even see him, you don't hear from him, like the effort's not there. And I don't know if he said that to try to motivate him. I mean, I'm hoping he did, but I mean, you're motivating a guy 5 games into the season, Chris. That's a serious problem. And then, of course, Tatum, Chris, seems a little bit disgruntled, right? He's always got something to say. And Chris, their play, they have no bench, Chris. They have, if Schroeder is starting, you have no bench. You have nobody. They did nothing to identify the bench. Horford looks like he's 100 years old. Marcus Smart is Marcus Smart. He's what he's always been. He ain't giving you anything different. He's Marcus Smart. And I don't think he should be starting, Chris. I think Schroeder should be starting because I think Marcus Smart can give you more in smaller spurts. The longer he's on the floor, Chris, the more he gets into his antics, where he's taking shots he shouldn't be taking. He's making plays. He's forcing things he shouldn't be forcing. The less time he's on the floor, I think the better he is. I would bring him off the bench and not start Marcus Smart. If you've watched the first 5-6 games, I mean, they're at the bottom, towards the bottom of the Eastern Conference. I mean, I know it's early. They're playing 500 basketball. And Chris, I don't think they're going to be, based on this, I know it's only a small sample size, but I don't know if they're going to be much better than a 500 team this year.
Well, Mark, going back to your going back to the Jaylen Brown, I don't know if Udoka was criticizing him necessarily, other than to say, his why can't he start and stop? Why can't he come back from one start to the other? And maybe that's the residual of what's left over from COVID with him. I think he's less critical of him than everybody else. What he did though, that I like, and I want to ask you if you like it or not, but in the shoot around, I guess earlier in the day, he told these guys, look, if you're going to continue to play like this, you're going to go out there tonight and you're going to get your ass kicked. And they did.
They did.
They did get their ass kicked, Mark. And so, and he, what I want to know from you is, one, do you like the fact that he's that candid with the team? And two, do you like the fact that he's candid with us? Well, he's telling us, look, this is what I told them. It's on them. Well, you had a guy like Brad Stevens who would never have done that.
Well, I was just going to say, Chris, he's definitely got a different approach and a different style than Stevens, right? He's telling them how it is. He's kind of in their face a little bit. He's letting the media know, hey, we're not good. We stink, right? And he's telling you that. I don't know how do they react to that, Chris? Do they turn him off and say, okay, is there mutiny by January? If this team's 8-9 games under 500, is there a let's fire him?
Well, it isn't even a turn off.
It could backfire on him, Chris.
It isn't even a turn it off at this point. They haven't even started yet. Maybe it's a turn it on. They're going to tune him in instead of tune him out.
Well, yeah, but I don't know if they'll ever tune him in, Chris. If they tune him out because they don't like what he's saying now, maybe they never get tuned in. That's what I'm saying.
Well,
that could be a problem, Chris. I don't know. It's a
we've been
totally
screaming
different
for
approach than what they're used to.
Well, we've been screaming for this to hold these guys accountable.
Well, he
Christ
is.
Almighty. I mean,
He is.
So listen, it starts to. It
Chris,
starts.
what do you think what have you seen so far? What do you think?
Well, I mean, again, they don't like Stevens. They didn't like Ainge. Here's Udoka now. They're not tuning him in because for your head coach that just got there, that's setting a tone to tell you, guys, this isn't good enough. You're going to get beat. And then they go out and lay an egg. That's a problem. So at some point, it's them. But as far as the play goes, and I think that's what you're asking me.
Yeah.
Udoka's got a deference for vets. He wants to play a lot of the veterans. I'm not sure why there's no. You talk about the bench. Well, we haven't seen it. I mean, no Pritchard, no Neesmith. I don't know why these guys are not
and
playing.
Those guys, Chris, got significant playing time in the summer, and everybody said, oh, these guys are going to make a huge step this year, and he's not using them. You're right.
Well, and they talk about spacing. There's no spacing on the floor, right?
No.
Well, you're never going to get spacing with a guy like Williams playing. I like Williams. He's athletic. You know me. I like him when he plays. He brings that energy, but you're not going to get that spacing as you would with a guy like Horford. Now, Horford will play at the top of the key. He'll shoot the three-pointer. That creates spacing on the floor, right? So I'm not sure when Horford gets there and we start to see him more, and maybe we need to.
Chris, though, might be because of his age. I think has lost a step or two, and I think the problem with Horford is I think he can do all of that. You're right, Chris, on the offensive side of the ball, but I think because he's lost a couple of steps, I think he might be a liability on defense. And I think that's why they've been using Horford. I'm sorry, Williams, because Williams, Chris, can jump out of the gym. He can, you know what I mean, and he can play defense. He can, you know what I mean. He blocks shots. He gets rebounds. But you're right. On the other side of the floor, Horford, I think, is geared more towards what we want, what they need to do. But I just think he's a liability on the other side of the court because of his age. He's slowed up.
Well, because the point guards aren't going to get it done. The problem with Schroeder is I'd have no problem with him. I would rather see him start than Marcus Smart. But the problem with him, I mean, he's a facilitator. When he has the ball in his hands, he's good. The issue with him is he doesn't move without the ball. No, he doesn't do shit without the ball. And you got to have that in your guards.
No, you don't.
And then forget Marcus Smart. You know how I feel about him. Shooting 25%. And he keeps shooting and shooting.
That's why, you got to figure out a way to give him less minutes. I mean, I don't know if they will, though, but.
Right. And then there's Tatum, Mark. Go ahead. I mean,
Tatum, Chris scores 45 one night, and then even him the next night, he looks like a different player. I mean, everyone keeps waiting for him to be that superstar that's going to be a top 5 guy, top 10 guy, top 5 guy. You don't become one of those guys, Chris, unless you become consistent every night. You can't have a night where you score 40 and the next night it's like, is he on the floor tonight? Where is he? Or he is on the floor, but he can't hit a shot. Well, how do you go from scoring 45 to not being able to hit a shot? I don't understand that.
Is he the next Carmelo?
Yeah, you brought that up to me during the week, Chris. Chris was texting me during one of the games this week, and he said, Mark, this is Carmelo Anthony. And I thought about it, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, you know what? He may be right. You may very well be right, Chris. That is possibly. And he was never a good teammate, Carmelo, right? We knew that. We know that. That was always one of his things.
Carmelo? No.
Right? So, you know what, Chris? He may be.
Tatum's not going to take this. He's not going to put this team on his shoulders. I mean, we've been saying he's young. He's going to get it. This is 5 years in now, Mark. You're either going to be a leader, and we're going to be doing this for the next 8 years, and then he's gone.
Yeah, Chris, that's a real good observation, Carmelo Anthony. I think that's who he is. That may very well be. That's a good comparison. That may very well be who he is.
If you're going to trade him, now's the time to trade him.
I was just going to say, Chris, his maximum trade value is now.
And people are
you're
going to be
gonna
screaming
attempt
at
to
me,
do that.
trade him. What are you, nuts? Don't trade him.
If you're going to attempt to do it, you have to do it now.
So listen, that's the C's, and quickly, let's get to some of the Bruins right now. I don't like how they're coming out of the gates either. There's no offense. The goaltender play, while it's a 920 for Ullmark, Swayman isn't playing that well. They're 0 for 5 on the power play in the last 2 games.
Chris,
there
they
anything
don't have any line depth right now.
No.
Right? What if you've watched some of the games? What do you that third and fourth line? What are you getting out of them?
Once again, nothing.
Nothing. Now it's even. It appears, Chris, they're worse this year than they were last year on those lines. It is as hard as that is to believe. I mean, I know it's early, but Chris, they have nothing in the back end at all.
No. So time will tell. Let's see what let's see what they bring. It is early. Let's see what happens. Hockey is the kind of sport where it takes some momentum to get going. So listen, B's and C's was presented by Special Sauce Podcast, Startup Finance, and Drive Yourself to Success. SpecialSaucePodcast.com. Mark, I like the segment. I really do.
I do too. I like it. It's a good segment.
Right after this is Catone's comments. Let's go, Joe.
Well, this is going to kind of be almost an offshoot of last week's Catone's comments because, as you all know, no, I am not living in a hotel room. As Christopher would like to say, I'm living in a hotel room. So there's a lot of renovations going on.
When he says Christopher, I'm in trouble, by the way. Everybody.
Right, Joe. So now, today, I had to go back to one of those places I hate to go about, one of those box stores, right? So I'm looking for a couple of things. I'm looking for a new couple of different appliances, washer, dryer. I'm looking for we're looking for some backsplash tile for the granite we put down. So we're in one of these places looking around. So we're looking, and I said, yeah, I need a little help over here. I gotta, I want to talk about a couple of these different things I saw, a couple of these pieces that I saw. And they said, oh, you want me to get somebody? Now my wife's looking at me because she knows. I said, well, did I just tell you I needed help? Who's going to help me? The thing on the shelf. Who? I said I need some help over here. Do you want me to get somebody? No. I don't want you to get anybody. No. I'm going to talk to the Mirage that's next to me for help because I just said to you I needed help. Do you want me to get somebody? Okay, yeah. Please get somebody. Yep, absolutely. Okay, great. 5, 10, 15 minutes. I said, did you get somebody? I need some help over here. She said, oh, yeah, I called them. They didn't show up yet. I said, no, they didn't show up yet. I'm still waiting over here. I'm waiting. Right? Now the person shows up. I asked a couple of questions. They looked at me. They said, oh, I don't know. I said, what do you mean you don't know? You work here. You don't know. Then who the hell knows? What am I? I'm better off buying the stuff, just producing it myself in my backyard. You don't know? I'm asking the salesperson a question who works in that department about something they're supposed to have some sort of expertise. And they said, I don't know. I said, oh, you don't know. Now my wife's trying to grab my shirt to pull me out of there. I'm like, okay, you don't know. Who the hell is supposed to know if they don't know? Now we're looking at a couple of different things, a couple of other things, appliances. So the washer and dryer, I said, could you help me out over here, sir? He comes over, he's talking to me, this and that. And my wife's asked him something about the capacity of it, and he gives a number. And I said, well, what about this? What's the difference between this one and this one? He said, well, this one's got a bigger capacity. It gives me a number. So I'm looking at the tag. And I said, that doesn't have a bigger capacity. What are you talking about? Oh, it does. I said, pal, look at the numbers. They're equal. That means they're the same. It's not bigger. I said it's probably more money because it's stainless steel. What do you think, pal? Maybe that's why. Oh, yeah, you're probably right. I'm probably right. I don't work here. You work here, for crying out loud. Are you kidding me? Really? I at that point, then my wife's asking more questions. I said, please don't ask him any more questions. Please don't ask him any more questions, please. Let's get out of here before I snap. She said, I can't go shopping with you. I said, you can't go shopping with me. I said, they couldn't answer a damn question. Chris, I don't think I'm going to make it through this renovation. I don't think I'm going to make it through. Chris, we can't hear you, Chris.
My thought, Joe, is he needs to stay at Home Goods. He needs to just shop at Home Goods.
Oh,
nowhere
that's worse.
else.
That's what might be worse.
Because they have everything he likes: pumpkins, yardsticks, all these other things.
I may bring a pumpkin on the show tomorrow and smash it. I think I'm going to smash it on the screen.
Does the hotel allow that, Mark?
You know what, Chris?
Listen, Mark.
Chris, they couldn't answer a question.
You should get off there. But the kid was probably 16 years old in high school that was helping you.
Oh.
You know, just because he's got the apron on, what do you think? He understands?
Yeah.
Well, then what you need to do from now on, this is my advice. Go down to the lumber section. Go get like about a 6-foot 2x4 and walk around the store with that thing. No. Walk around the store with that thing. And I think just hold it like a baseball bat. Have your son show you how to do that. Right. Yeah. And then, maybe you'll get a little more attention and they'll be a little more, attentive when they come over to you and on their toes. No?
They'll arrest me. For Christ's sakes, I have to call Corso. I have to call Corso Law Group, Joe.
Hey, but you know what? You know what, though? If they arrest you, then you don't have to go shopping anymore.
Well, that's a thought. That's a thought.
You can get the cuff slapped on you, put into custody, and then you don't have to deal with it anymore. You know what I mean? But you better cancel the accounts before you go in. Because there'll be Home Goods everywhere. You sold them all, now they'll all be back. Joe, he can't. Let's. Do we have a running tally of the things he shouldn't do anymore?
Well, it's basically any home style store, any store, any drive.
Listen, I've been good. I haven't been. She dragged me this morning. I had a different Catone's comment ready to go until she dragged me there this morning, and I said, I got to talk about this. I have to.
Yeah. So you're right, Joe. Any home improvement, home goods store, the only place he can drive is maybe the go-karts. We shouldn't be on the streets at all either, driving around people.
No.
Pretty much everywhere there's people, Mark, I'm thinking you should probably stay out of that situation, no?
Yeah, I need to build some kind of an attachment to the house in the back with a refrigerator, TV, a bed, and never leave. Just stay there.
Like a bomb shelter.
Yes, that's a good idea, Chris. A bomb shelter, yes.
Only if the electric
with all the amenities, a bomb shelter with the amenities, and I'll be fine.
You can get out of the hotel and into the bomb shelter, and then you'll be good to go. So, Catone's comments was presented by Corso Law Group, Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm, CorsoLawGroup.com. Allow us to be your voice. When we come back, we're going to be previewing the Patriots as they travel to the Chargers for the big one tomorrow, the big game. Let's hope they go 4-4, Joe, right after this.
that time again for a timeout for a message from one of our sponsors. No one ever thinks they will be in the need of a criminal or traffic lawyer, but things happen. Corso Law Group is Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. Their 20-plus years experience and attention to detail has helped thousands of people all across this great country who found themselves in a situation in Arizona. So whether it's a traffic ticket or if you need reduced DUI or more serious issues, call or go online to CorsoLawGroup.com and talk with these expert attorneys who I know will help you. Corso Law Group.
Back in with more Corso and Catone, the real deal, New England feel. So, Mark, on the way to L.A. to face the Chargers, and it's a big game, Mark. I mean, they need to get to
500. You have to get to 500.
So let's, and then, of course, they have 65 people on their injury report, naturally,
What
which
else is new?
we'll get to in a second. But let's break it down, Mark. I mean, first, your initial, before we get into the scouting of this, the matchups, just generally speaking, what are their chances in this?
Listen, they got a chance, Chris, just because I don't think the Chargers can stop the run at all. So you should, if you use Stevenson and Harris tomorrow, Chris, you could have a huge day moving the ball on the ground, which will hopefully open up the passing game for Mac Jones, that underneath game that he likes to use, play action and some of that stuff that they do, which suits their offense perfectly, should be there all day tomorrow. I think you're going to have to score a lot of points anyways, Chris, because the Chargers have, an offense. Their receivers may be just as good, if not better, than the collection that Dallas had. You saw what Dak Prescott did to us, right?
Yeah.
And then they got Eckler, I think, is on their injury report. I don't know if he's going to play, but if he plays, they got a good running game. But yeah, I think because of the because of the Los Angeles' defense, Chris, I think we have a shot. I really do. I think offensively we can control some of that game, I think.
And listen, Justin Herbert, he's I honestly think he's going to surpass Josh Allen over there in Buffalo. I think this kid has got it all. Don't you?
No,
he's got that, and he's got that mobility. The thing that people don't talk about with him is that mobility in the pocket. He's able to move, shift, that guy that we don't talk about anymore, how he was able to do that. I see him like that versus getting out and running, which he can do, but he moves around that pocket. So, Mark, let's go to the Patriots. You talked about we have a shot on offense. Talked about Stevenson in the run game. Well, first of all, is he going to be active tomorrow?
He's got to be, Chris. He has to be active tomorrow. Him and Harris, they have to be.
They're never going to put Bolden on the bench.
No, they're not going to put him on the bench, but I still think that's your best combination against this team. Maybe Taylor's not active tomorrow. I don't know, because you're right. They're never going to put Bolden on the bench. But I think Stevenson and Harris obviously as your number one back, gives you your best chance tomorrow to do everything else you want to do on offense, Chris. I
agree. No team has allowed more rushing yards this season than the Chargers. So, they're 162 yards at about five and a half on average per carry. Now, I should say they've played, Dallas, Cleveland, Baltimore, some real good running teams up to this point. But again, worst is worst, right? That's who you get dealt a hand, right? So, yeah, they're going to have to run the ball. That has got to be the formula tomorrow, right?
Oh, yeah, I can't see them getting into a shootout, throwing the ball all over the field against that offense, Chris. I just don't think that. I don't think that can happen. I think you're going to have to score points, though. You're definitely going to have to score points, but you're going to have to do it in a different way. You can't go out and you can't have Mac Jones throw the ball 50 times tomorrow, because you're not going to win. If he throws the ball 50 times, you'll lose.
Well, and if they keep the ball, if they can run the ball and keep clock and win the time of possession battle, then maybe you don't. Maybe you don't have to put up as many points as you think. But I will say the Chargers are getting some help back tomorrow. defensive lineman Justin Jones is now coming off the IR. So
Okay,
he's definitely going to help them,
he'll help.
and Kenneth Murray, who's been out because of a bad ankle, he's coming back. I believe he's coming back
He
too.
goes sideline to sideline,
He
Chris.
does.
That's my guy.
So they're going to get some help in the front seven and in that box. But I think that if you can control that clock, our offensive line has been playing better. A new switch to right tackle. Karras went to left guard. Mark, where do they run? Where do they run? Opposite of who?
They're gonna run. I think they're gonna run to the right side.
And it's always opposite that slug.
It's
always
opposite that slug win. It's gonna be opposite win. Absolutely.
I mean, that's where they get the chunk of their yards all the time. I mean, it's off right tackle. So the offensive line's been playing better. I agree. I think that they're going to need to run the ball because I think they have trouble stopping it. They get those two guys back, as I said, but I'm fairly confident we'll move the ball that way. So I give the edge to the Patriots on that.
I give the edge to the Patriots too. Absolutely.
Now, when New England passes the ball, I mean, I can't imagine you not give the edge to the Chargers, right?
Yeah, I get. Well,
they're fourth, Mark. Fourth in the league, allowing 200 yards per game.
They are. There's something about this team, though, Chris, that when they play New England, they throw up an egg, and I don't know why that is. But yeah, if you're going to go statistically, Chris, yes, the Chargers have the advantage in the secondary, especially against our receivers. I mean, come on. Right?
Corners: Chris Harris, Michael Davis,
Chris, is the
Samuel
safety,
Jr.
The safety healthy? For them?
They're going to have Derwin James,
he's back. He's
Adderley,
healthy, right?
and Gilman. They're going to be the safeties. It's
Derwin
a great
James,
secondary.
Chris, is one of the best safeties in the league.
Yeah. I mean, these are guys that go high point balls. They get in your hip. They just don't let you breathe. And with our receivers,
to your point, Chris, that's why you have to establish the run tomorrow.
Right. And there's no fear. There's no fear in playing press and man.
No, they'll play press and they'll play man. Yeah.
And the other problem with that, this is one of those teams that can get pressure, right? With four guys. When you got Bosa,
they should.
Those guys, that pass rush, they've got 13 sacks in 6 games. Mark.
Listen, Chris, you got to listen. More than any other game this season, Chris, if you want to win this game, you're gonna and I know you have to put a lot of faith in this offensive line, Chris. You're gonna have to establish the run. I can't say it enough. They're gonna have to run the football in order to open up a little bit of the passing game, because like you said, Chris, they have a secondary where they can get on their hip and shut them down, especially our receivers.
What's weird too, because I like the way Mac Jones has been playing, game to game to game. It's just what you said, Mark. It's exactly what you said when we were busting your beans that he's not going to start week 1, right? Mark was dead on accurate. I mean, dead on. And you basically said it from the beginning that as the weeks pass, what did it for me was that Tampa game, how that kid showed up in that game, which Chris, we thought was going to be the stage was going to be too big for him.
Yeah. We talked about Chris, and I talked about it from the preseason. He'll be okay because as the weeks go on, he'll learn, and they'll teach him how to read film. He's got Belichick, he's got McDaniels, he's got Hoyer to teach him. Because I know your concern was, well, how's he going to break down NFL film and it's live action? And yeah, we didn't look bad in preseason, but when you flip the switch to the regular season, it's a whole different ball game in the NFL. It's different. It's a whole different look. It's a different speed. It's a different everything, right? And I think as every week has gone by, Chris, he's getting himself more and more comfortable with all of that, to the point where I think he may be. I mean, if you had better receivers, Chris, I think he would be ready to take a major step forward if you had better receivers. We just don't have those receivers right now. I don't,
Yeah. I mean, last week was his first 300-yard game, no turnovers. Now, look, you play the hand you dealt. It was the Jets. I get it. I'm tired of hearing that. I understand. But they put up 54. They did what they were supposed to do, and that was if they did what a team that looks like they could be good did to the Jets. They kicked the shit out of them. 54
Oh, yeah, because
points.
if it was a 17-13 game, we would have got beat up the opposite way.
Right.
Oh, we stink. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, we blew them out like we're supposed to, and it still wasn't good enough for all the pundits on the flagship stations.
They criticize and say, well, Mac Jones, I mean, he's only taking what they give him. Well, that's what he's supposed to do.
What do they expect him to do, Chris?
Not with the receivers they have. Look, Jacoby Myers, and I like Myers. You like him too. I mean, he's a guy that stepped up as his favorite target, 41 catches so far in the season. Anybody think at this point he'd have 40 catches? I mean, he's on the way to what, 80?
80
or
he's
90
on the way,
catches?
80 or 90 catches, yeah.
That's a top flight receiver in this league. Now, I get it. They're all underneath stuff. There's nothing deep. He's not a 1. I get that. But it's still 41 catches. And then you got Hunter Henry showing up now.
Well, Henry's becoming a threat as you get closer to the red zone, Chris, right?
Yep.
And that's and yes, and if he could catch 10 touchdowns in the red zone as a tight end, you know what? That even if he doesn't have a ton of yards, that'll be a productive season, Chris.
Yeah. You like to see Kendrick Bourne is coming on. He's coming on. You know, he's got 22. Aguilar's got 9. You like to see a lot more out of Aguilar. You have to see a lot more.
Chris, I said it, and I'll continue to say it from the day they signed him. That's a bad signing, but.
Well, you would have rather have the guy from Carolina that one. Was Davis that went over to the Jets? We go over to the Jets, right?
I think he went to the Jets.
Yeah. So, but the one guy I'm not mentioning in all this is Jonnu Smith.
He's a big disappointment, Chris. I know he played a little bit better last week. He did. But then supposedly, Chris, he was limited again in practice a couple of days this week. Is he on the injury report?
No. He is on the injury report with a shoulder, but I think he was last week too.
Okay.
I think he was last week. So what is he going to be, that guy, one of those guys this year that just is hurt? And
Chris, I'm disappointed in him. You gave him a lot of money, and I don't think he's done anywhere near what we thought he could do in this offense.
No, his blocking has been good. I will say that.
It has.
He has done that. But you're not paying.
Good.
Christ, you're not going to pay a guy as much as he's getting to block.
Chris, you failed to mention one of our wide receivers.
What, Mr. One Catch Wonder over there?
Yeah.
Mr. One Catch Pac-12? You know? We're not even going to say his name anymore. You know? He sucks.
Yeah.
He really does suck, Mark. You know, I'm sorry. You know,
he's
you
awful.
hate to say that about a professional anything, but he sucks, Joe, doesn't he? So,
he sucks.
Yeah. So again, I mean, it's a little scary with that front. You know, 13 sacks, 6 games.
So,
Mac
Chris,
Jones gets hit a
against
lot,
the
although he
pass,
hasn't got hit lately.
Against the pass, then we're going to say San Diego has the advantage, right?
They do.
Between the secondary and the pass rush, right?
They do. Yeah, they do. In my opinion, they do. And
Yeah.
let's see. I mean, you know, but, you know, the other question is, is a Belichick factor come in? You know how coaches are against them. You know, they zig when they're going to zag or should, you know, like they're going to stack the box looking for New England to run the ball. And then all of a sudden New England comes out and spread and starts pumping the ball over the field. I don't know. You know, I mean, that's maybe overthinking it, but we'll see what happens. McDaniels is going to have a good game too. He's going to have a steady game, Mark, right?
And McDaniels has gotten better, Chris. We talked about that last week. That I think he is settled in, I think, as to what this offense is. And I think he's starting to call a better game plan and developing a better game plan. The game plan I'm concerned about, and I know we're going to get to this in a little bit, is the defensive side of the football. Because I really hope your buddy Matt Patricia, Chris, doesn't have a big say in game planning on the defensive side of the ball, right? But you're right, Chris. McDaniels, I think, has done a better job understanding what this offense is. And what he needs to call for it to be successful.
Well, look, and before we get to that, that side of the ball, 14 guys on the injury report, Mark.
Chris, I don't know if anybody else in the league has that. This is every week.
Yeah, I think Belichick likes to, you know, he got criticized a few years back about not putting some. Now he just puts everything. Somebody gets a hangnail, he's on the injury report just to kind of break beans.
I was going to say, Chris, I think he may be doing that now just for like shits and giggles, just to bust beans. Say, okay, everybody's on the injury report. Got 30 guys on the injury report.
Right, because you got Andrews, Bourne, Falk. Yeah. You got Mason, Smith, Jonnu Smith. All offensive guys that matter. You got them all on the list. So
no, you're right.
Now, moving to the other side of the ball, and I wanted to talk a little bit about some possible trades, but we can get to that in a second. Moving to the other side of the ball, though, when the Chargers run, you got to give the edge to the Pats. No, I mean, the Chargers haven't been really that interesting in the running game. The stats, they'll back that up. They're 25th in the league with about 95 per game, 20th in yards per rush, which is 4. So Eckler has been that guy. He's got 73 of the 139 carries. They just don't run the ball a ton.
They don't.
They don't have a lot of attempts.
Their offense is prefaced on the passing game first, Chris. Right.
Right. And Herbert has a lot of rushing. He's rushed the ball 21 times, 72 yards, Mark. So
Chris, I think this week will be interesting in this sense. If LA can run the ball, or they do run the ball with success, then that really is a red flag on our defensive front, Chris, that you can't, this team, we've been talking about this back and forth for the last several weeks. Can this team stop the run? If this team does come out and run the ball, which I don't think they will, I would give the advantage to our defense when the LA is running the ball. But if LA runs the ball against us, Chris, man, that's a real nail in your heart saying, hey, you know what? You really can't stop the run. If this team ran against you, you stink. You can't stop the run. And I think that, if that happens, so I think this will be a good test to say, hey, can you stop? If you can't stop this team, Chris, who the hell can you stop? Whose running game can you stop?
Well, and the Patriots have climbed up the rankings, in the run defense. Now they're ranked 11th with 105 per game. But more impressive than that is the fourth. They're ranked fourth in the league, only allowing 3.8 a carry. So they're getting better. Your guy that and I agree. Look, they should have got the skill guy, but Barmore's playing. He's playing much better. You got Bentley's playing good again he's playing good. I wouldn't say again in the running game because Dante Hightower is invisible. So, they're doing much, much better. And if Eckler's out of this game, he didn't practice all week.
If Eckler doesn't play, usually when you don't practice all week, Chris, you don't play, right?
Well, in New England.
But if Eckler don't play, Chris, that also hurts their passing game because he's good out of the backfield.
Right.
He looks for him out of the backfield. He's his security guy out of the backfield. He catches a lot of balls out of the backfield for him. So that will definitely hurt their team, not only running the ball, Chris, but also throwing the ball. Eckler's a piece of that passing game.
He is, and some of the guys that are on the report: Bentley, Carl Davis, and I'm not so concerned about that, although that's depth. Duggar, Gottschall. You got Hightower, and again, believe it or not, I'm not as worried about that. Uche, Van Noy, Wade. Now, Wade has been upgraded, so hopefully some of those guys play, right? Because if they don't, then they're gonna have then you'll see the Chargers probably run the ball well. Now, moving to the secondary, when the Chargers pass, I mean, you got to give the edge. I would give the edge to the Chargers in that. They got. We talked about Herbert already, but they're 8th in the league, averaging 282 yards a game, through the air. We have issues in the secondary, clearly. Keenan Allen's there. You got Mike Williams there. Tight end Jared Cook, he's in there. He's a problem. So, Mark, how are they going to handle this? Well,
again, to your point, Chris, too, you got all these guys on the injured list, too. So you got to hope some of them are playing, because if they're not.
Well, one guy actually has been upgraded. Sean Wade.
Yeah. They said that he was making progress. Maybe he'll play.
So he's now questionable. He's always been out. So, he's been questioned. He's questionable now because they need all the help they can get.
Chris, this team is going to really, really press you against the pass. They're going to test us and test us and test us. And Hebert, from Chris, he don't care. If he throws a pick, he don't care. That doesn't affect him. He'll continue to push the ball, and he pushes it down the field. What Dallas did, they're going to do that, if not more. They're going to test your secondary, and they're going to test that secondary, Chris, all day long, because that's what their offense is predicated on. So you better come up with a good game plan. I'm going to tell you something, Chris. They're going to have to come up with, we talked about this last week, some zero look. They're going to have to try to manufacture pressure.
Confuse him a little bit.
Confuse him and get some pressure on him. You can't give him, if he just sits back there and surveys the field, you're going to get sliced and diced all over the field. Sliced and diced.
Yeah, and our guy's going to have a good game too. I mean, number 9 is going to have to show up.
Yeah.
And he has every week. So, because Mark, we're relying on, it's a scary thing when Jalen Mills is your 2
Yeah, it is.
on the outside.
Yeah, it
'Cause
is.
he's not an outside
and you
corner.
get rid of Gilmore. We're not even going to get into Gilmore.
He's
We're not
playing
gonna,
this
we're not going
week.
to discuss. I know he is. We're not going to discuss players that are on here. But you're right. Mills is your 2. Mills hasn't played bad, Chris, but he scares me against this team because even when he plays well, Chris, he sometimes will give up 1 or 2 big plays, even when he plays well. So,
Well, and they got bad news this week because Jonathan Jones is out.
he's
for
out
the
for the
season.
year. That hurts.
So that hurts.
That
Now,
hurts.
now you're left with Miles Bryant and our buddy Joanne Williams. Look, out of those 2 guys, okay, I'll take Bryant all day over
Yeah.
Williams.
Hold on. Yeah.
But that's what I would do. I would take Miles Bryant all day over Joanne Williams. I know he's just coming up from the practice squad. I understand that, but the issue is, so the issue with that is, and I think Mark had some sort of emergency happen over there, Joe. Yeah, but
Like it.
Miles Bryant, I'll take him. I know he just came up from the practice squad. I get that, but Joanne Williams is so bad. I mean, he's just never. His technique stinks. His tackling stinks. Okay, and he's just. I can't see him just bringing anything to the table. And I think Miles Bryant played good when he came off the practice squad, which is a tough thing to do. Okay, just coming up, and I think he'll become better and better and better. And you hope that he makes those kinds of strides, and you hope a guy like Sean Wade gets back in. Mark, I think, right?
Yeah. Well, we've been waiting for Wade to get back in, Chris, but he hasn't. So I mean, he's had the concussion. I mean, and Wade's somebody, Chris, who can be versatile. I think he could play a little bit on the outside. He can play a little bit in the slot. And you and I were even talking. We thought he could play some safety.
Yes, very good. Because
But
who
you're
else
going to need
is not
that.
showing
And the way
up
this
this year?
defense is right now, Chris, you're going to need him to play all 3 positions.
You give credence to experience, leadership out on the field. And yeah, I get it. That can't be measured. But Mark, McCourty's just, I mean.
Yeah, McCourty's getting old, Chris. He's getting old. And Hightower's getting old.
Yeah.
Listen, you're right. And I know we wanted them on there for leadership, but Jesus Christ, they I don't know.
They got and lastly, I'll say, and McCourty's he has been nursing that abdomen injury, so that is.
And maybe that's why he hasn't played well, Chris. I don't know. Maybe it could be. I don't know.
So maybe Wade gets some reps over at safety, but again, they're going to have to tackle better no matter what.
Well, Chris, that's been an issue all year, and that was an issue last year. That used to drive you crazy. They couldn't.
Oh my God!
Simple, fundamentals of football. This team doesn't do.
It's all over the league, everywhere.
Shit, they don't do it.
No rap.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
I mean, I've said it so many times. I'm tired of saying it. It's just ridiculous. And so, listen. Do they have the mental makeup to go in across the country, go into a place like LA and beat that team? Belichick says, and I wanted to get your thoughts on this, but Belichick makes the comment, and let me see if I can find it. I think I can. Belichick makes the comment when asked about the confidence level, and he said, we don't lack confidence. Now, how do you take that comment?
Well, what is he going to say? Chris, listen, this is a team. I think he knows the core of this team is a young team. And usually Belichick is all beat you up and beat you down and you're not good. We're not good enough. And if you've noticed, Chris, he's taking a different approach with this team. And it's almost like he's trying to keep this team engaged until almost like the switch happens, or almost like, the tide eventually turns and it all clicks. And I think in his mind, Chris, he thinks this team has the potential to turn this into something much more this year. They're not there yet, but I think he thinks that, and he's trying to keep them engaged and keep their confidence level high until that happens. I think that's why he's taking a little bit of a different approach with this team, Chris. And I honestly do. But
Could
We'll
you look
see.
at it? Could you look at it like, and it just is just to play, could you take that comment the other way as if he's saying, yeah, we don't lack in confidence, maybe we should, like a little sarcastic, like
Maybe,
these guys
maybe.
are this confident and they're not there yet.
No, maybe you could be, Chris, but I think he knows they're not there yet, and this is his way because he's got a first-year young quarterback. He's got these young guys. I think it's his way of trying to keep them, in my opinion, engaged.
It's hard with him because he's got that monotone kind of way of talking.
He does. Yep.
Well, Mark, let's see what happens. I mean, they brought they signed a couple of guys this week, Busby and Poole, into the secondary. Poole's a veteran. He's 29. He's got five NFL season, played with Atlanta, the Jets, New Orleans, 5'10", 213 pounds. That's a guy more so than Busby, who's also in his fifth season.
Listening to Corso Catone past couple of weeks.
That's right.
Yeah.
Secondary.
Yeah.
Sign a couple of guys. So again, Mark, let's see what happens. We'll get to our picks in a minute, and I wanted to real quick. Kyle Fuller's out there, Mark. Kyle Fuller's out there as a defensive back. Could you see a trade with him or possibly Brandon Cooks, Jamison Crowder? What do you think? Anything quick?
I could see them going after Fuller. I don't know about Brandon Cooks, Chris. I don't think they'd want that contract at this point. And I don't know what Crowder makes, Jamison Crowder. Crowder's a guy, Chris, if he doesn't make a lot of money, I could see them bringing him in too. But I think Fuller is a guy that they could possibly bring in, Chris, because you need secondary help, especially with Jonathan Jones out for the year. I think he brings in a corner before a receiver.
All right, so so now, Mark, we'll see what happens, but we're going to get to our predictions and let's get to our 2-minute warning so we can wrap this up. Joe?
Yeah,
all right, Mark, wrap it up.
Okay, well, as you know, Chris, they traveled cross country. It's going to be an interesting game tomorrow. I think offensively, the running game will keep them in it, and I think that they win this game late. I'm going to go 27-24, late field goal, Falk, maybe 50 yards, 48, 50-yarder late to win it, 27-24. They need this win, Chris, to go to 500 and try to make a push for the second half of the season. That's what I think for tomorrow. That's my prediction.
For me, I have Sandy. I have LA winning this game.
All right.
To me, I'm thinking they're going to score 31 points, and I think the Patriots are going to fall in at about 24. I just think that the passing game's too much for the secondary right now, and if we get into a shootout, LA is going to win that battle every single time. One thing, Mark, I want to mention real quick. We got to give our props to Bruce Arenas and the New England Revolution. They set a record, a league record, 73 points in one season. It's never been done. So our hats off to Arenas. And I'll tell you what, the most honest coach in all of sports. He said, they gave me a shit show, so it is remarkable what we did here. Can't get better than that.
Can't get better than that, right? Jesus Christ.
So, congratulations to the Revs for pulling that off. Hopefully they can do something in the playoffs. Mark, some people to thank tonight. Oh, actually, our 2-minute warning and Patriots preview was brought to us by Pats Nation, the Real Patriots postgame show, 30 minutes following every Patriots game. Now some people to thank, Mark. Want to thank the good people over at Special Sauce Podcast, Startup Finance, and Drive Yourself to Success, SpecialSaucePodcast.com, Jag Media Productions, Studio 42 Designs for all your graphic design needs, Studio42Designs.com, Corso Law Group, Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm, CorsoLawGroup.com, allow us to be your voice, and Mountain View Home Watch and Security, Scottsdale's leading watch and security firm. Join us for that Pats Nation postgame show, the Real Patriots postgame show, tomorrow, 30 minutes following that very same Chargers game. You're not going to want to miss that. We'll have much to talk about, including Mac Mania, Coach's Corner, and, of course, our Sunday Stiff. Hey, listen, tune in next week to our show, Corso and Catone, the Real Deal New England Feel, every Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern. So you don't want to miss that. Hopefully the Pats can go 4-4 tomorrow. Let's see, Mark, on that. So for Mark Catone, Joe Goneri, I'm Chris Corso. Enjoy the game, everyone.